It's never a good idea to try to upstage the Super Bowl, but some of the news coming out from before the Super Bowl is about Christina Aguilera and her flub of the national anthem. She certainly turned right around and offered her apologies. But TJ, should she be doing even more? How can she sort of gain back her reputation after making a pretty major flub in front of what is obviously the biggest TV audience, certainly in America?
Well, I think she's going to have to sing the national anthem flawlessly somewhere in the next year, and I do think she'll do it. Look, nobody likes to make mistakes, much less a mistake in front of 100 million people. But given that, I do think she handled the situation relatively well. She put out an apology statement very quickly. I mean, this isn't the end of the world. She clearly wasn't changing the lyrics to say, in communism we trust or something like that. There was no sense of trying to tamper with words for a political meaning. She apologized. She said she hoped people got the sense of her patriotism and her enthusiasm through the songs. It does bring up a couple of questions. For starters, why not have a teleprompter there to really make sure you know all the words? The second thing, and there is some controversy about this, a lot of commentators have said, why not lip sync it? Record it in advance with her own voice, then sing it for real, but don't have your microphone on. The challenge with this is if you are slightly off, then so many people are then criticizing you for lip syncing. So it can be a very tough choice for performers. Mike, where do you stand on that?
I think the most famous national anthem was Whitney Houston before the Super Bowl during the Gulf War, the Giants against the Bills, and that one was lip-synced. So she went out there and had this stirring rendition of the national anthem, and even now when people speak about it, they say, oh, but she was lip-syncing. But you know what? The way that she sold that performance, and as you mentioned, TJ, she sung it in her own voice. It wasn't as if, they were playing back some track of, some studio mix. She went out and she sung it, and it's memorable, and it's known. Again, you don't want to be in a situation like Ashlee Simpson on Saturday Night Live, but Christina Aguilera is a really great singer, so I certainly think that she's probably lip-synced in some avenue in the past before, and this is just, such a big stage that I'm surprised that the NFL or whoever was producing that opening of the Super Bowl yesterday probably should have went to her and said, you know what, in the past we've done this, but you know what, now she has to live with the repercussions of it.
Well, but you just bring up an example of why performers wouldn't want to use lip syncing. They don't want to be compared to Ashlee Simpson, who did famously lip sync on Saturday Night Live. And again, the problem with lip syncing is if you're off just that much, it becomes very noticeable to people. Now, I don't remember the Whitney Houston one. Was she off at all?
She was not off at all. It was at the height of the Gulf War, so emotions were running high. Players on the sideline with tears streaming down their face. It was that emotional, and she was right on, and she was singing it, and she was belting it out, and it wasn't until a few years later was it revealed, and they weren't really even hiding it, that she was lip-syncing, and you know what? It did not dampen what anyone thought about that national anthem, and I think now you could probably look back at some of the sales, and that was sold as a single. It was that popular at the time, so I don't think it hurt her at all.
Well, that's the challenge. If you're going to lip sync, you have no margin for error. You've got to nail it because you have to fool people into thinking it is the real thing. Otherwise, you better deliver the real thing or you will be damned either way. I'm TJ Walker. Thanks for joining.